Hello friends, family, and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a best of 5 from the KSL SummerSlam round of 12 between Australia here playing for Team Reno in the top left, and on the other side of the map we have Gumiho opening up with a 2-gas build opener, as well as a factory that he forgot to place in his main base. What a huge blunder here by Gumiho at the start of the game, forgetting that buildings are supposed to be built in your main, not just randomly on the map. This SCV must have been lost and accidentally built this factory over here. God. Now this is the level of Terran stupidity that we're dealing with on a regular basis. Is these guys, they completely forget the basics of StarCraft 2. And here they are, winning absolutely everything anyway. It is ridiculous in my opinion that we accept this as a community. Oh my god. Sentry is completely blasting this Reaper away. It's going to be... What is this? Gumiho, you massive prick. Is this just a legit one base all in? Yeah, it is. I cannot believe this. This is not an actual build order, but I guess it kind of is. I'm gonna get a scout here. This Reaper is returning from his sabbatical. He's just healing up for a bit, you know, resting. Is this a wall? Yeah, okay. For a second, I believe it looked for a second like you could move through. I think Gumiho had the same thing. It's like, man, this looks stupid. Just gonna start shooting this gateway. I guess the goal here with this push is going to be to take out the gateway as well as the warp gate. That seems like an honorable goal. Australia has now scouted and seen the lack of, well, everything. There's literally nothing right now in the main base. SCV gets sent across the map as well. Australia is gonna be proper confused as... he started by pumping out this Immortal. Well, it's not really pumping it out, he just builds it. And wants to probably keep some type of energy around. Oh, here comes the tank drop. Starts by targeting down this pylon. That could be a very big deal if he does get that pylon. Pro pool off the line is going to secure this position anyway. Could have been huge as we get some target fire there on that medevac. But try and stop the high ground vision from happening. Oh. Australia is not the control that we've signed up for so far, my friend. Needs to rebuild a gateway, needs to rebuild a cybernetics core most likely as well. There's not that many Marines, but there are 10 Marines, and 10 Marines is better than 0. Now, the interesting thing here is that there's no Cyclone, and that the Barracks is at home. So technically, 2 Stalkers in the middle of the map could pick off all Marine reinforcements. I think Australia is just now realizing that, and starts moving across the map with this. At the same time, he also needs to stay at home. I'm not entirely sure about the second unit being a Prism, honestly. It feels like it would have been much better had that second unit just been an Immortal. Like, what is the point of getting another Prism here? I'm also surprised to not see a single Liberator after taking out the Cybernetics Core. Not a single battery on the high ground either. Here we go. As the tanks in the back not really doing much of anything. Immortal is just going to get cancelled. The reinforcements continue streaming across the map. I think Australia might have made some minor mistakes here in this game so far. He's not managing quite to hold the line. Oi, 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 oi. Poor Australia. He's now going to try and drop on top of this with the Prism. The Immortal is in there. Second Immortal, of course, never made it out. I think this game is actually over. Vikings push away the Prism. Probes get pulled. GG gets called, and Gumiho wins game number 1 with a very uncommon strategy that I hadn't seen in freaking years. Riding around on the thread and it's alright. If you live the life you please and it's alright. I'm doing the best you can when it's alright. And then to the end of the... Everything will work out fine and it's alright. I'm going to the end of the line. Game number 2 starts with another SCV straight up moving across the map. This time it is not the SCV that is meant to build a factory, but it says the SCV that's meant to build a barracks. It's probably gonna get spotted though here right away. How unfortunate that would be for Gumiho. Okay, yeah, it does get spotted. It is a double Rex proxy, I think. That's like a nuclear position as well. What is this crap? Wait, what? Oh, he's just going in towards the main? What? What? Now this I don't understand. This I absolutely do not understand. Eh? What a highly confusing build order. I guess he's gonna eBay block now? This seems legitimately terrible. He probably wanted the Proxy 2 racks with just 2 barracks because he sent out 2 SCVs. It's weird to me that this would be the actual plan because this plan seems awful. It's gonna lose that SCV as well. Cybernetics core already going down. Just going to be a, well, not really a standard, but at least a Reaper proxy. It's being rallied back home as well to deal with that potential worker. This is just 1 gas too, so yeah, I guess. But like, what the ever-living crap is this? Okay, CC gets built on the high ground. Okay, well, this is a build. eBay block Proxy Reaper that gets rallied back home into just standard command center. It's gonna have like no units ready whatsoever. What will happen if Astrea is just going to send his first 2 stalkers across the map? Yes, we have a factory on the way, but surely that's not going to be enough, right? Second gas gets thrown down as well here. Okay, sticks with a position in the middle of the map. It's perhaps gonna get Marauders as a result. With that concussive shell. And then Hellions. I mean, this is also, once again, a complete non-build order. That I have really never seen before. Not quite like this, at least. I mean, technically, this could work if there is no battery. This might have a future, but it's kind of thin, honestly. Really is kind of thin. No second gateway quite yet. That does sadden me a little bit. I think extra production here is huge. It does get thrown down, although it being a tiny tad late is definitely going to hurt. We have the Reaper moving across the map. There's 2 Marauders out. There's Hellions in production. This is legitimately one of the weirdest builds I've seen in my life. This is the type of build order that if there is an Oracle or if there is a battery, the game just ends. Like, just like that, like instantly, you know? Like it legitimately would just end instantly. But if there's none, and there's 3 Marauders, I mean, this just wins then, doesn't it? Look, he's just gonna kill the first Stalker straight up. We have 1 warp gate ready to, well, to start warping in. The second gate is now finishing up. I think a pylon here should be the target. We'll switch targets right away into that 1 Stalker. Hellions being super useful here, because if the probes get pulled, Hellions will deal a lot of damage. Gumiho has pretty decent eco behind this as well. It's gonna get some big shots off on these probes. And I think Astrea has just died. Legitimately has just died. This is wild stuff. It's gonna lose another Stalker here as 1 more Marauder makes his way across the map. Oh, that Stalker is going to survive, but, well, there's 1 more warp in. 15 workers have already gone down. Astrea is looking at this, thinking to himself, good lord, I just went 0-2 versus the worst build in the history of build orders. This is so sad. Like, this is actually so sad. Third base is over halfway done for Astrea, but he only has 25 workers. There's extra barracks being produced right now, going up to 4 for Gumiho, who's also been producing tanks diligently. There's 1 out already. These Marauders are still being rallied across. The Reaper makes his way in towards the main base. GG gets called. Gumiho wins game number 2. And after 10 minutes in this series, well, we're already at match point. But if you're Astrea in this situation, you're gonna feel like a bit of a clown. You know? It's 2 builds that neither... I mean, they can work, but they're so risky, and if you get even just an inkling that they're happening, then it's dead. Like, the thing is entirely dead. So yeah, he's gonna be so upset by this. I can feel it. Like, I'd be freaking pissed if I were Astrea. I played against Cure in Intel Extreme Masters Katowice earlier this year, and sometimes when you're playing against players that are much better than you, you kind of expect them to play proper. And I was like, okay, you know, we can play a little risky against Kier. And I think I didn't scout and just straight up died to a 2-Rex Proxy Marauder. And then in the macro games where I scouted properly, I won one game and then the other one. It's actually, I think, fairly close as well. It's like, man, it can feel so dumb. It's like if you just scouted properly, this would have been no issue at all and you would have won, or you would have been up 2-0, you know, if you would have done things properly. It really feels like you kind of cheated yourself out of a free win. You know, it's just... Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. It's the only thing I can really say about it. Gumiho, though, doesn't seem very confident currently in this matchup, or maybe feels very confident in his build. Like, this, of course, can be a thing as well. Sometimes I feel very good in a matchup, but I feel even better with a certain all-in. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to shoot that all-in anyway. Like, if it works, you know? So, yeah, man. All right. Cybernetics core here finishing up, as we have a probe heading back home. And the factory, together with the reactor starting straight away, we pulled out of gas, at least out of one of the gases. Put 2 workers out there. Really wonder what the setup's going to be. CC on the high ground. If we're once again gonna see such a crazy type of all-in, or maybe something else here. If the factory's finishing up, we will get our answer. This is dead, right? It's a dead thing. Most definitely is. Ooh, no it doesn't. Does not quite get the surround. Does have another shade available though. It's gonna try and get a kill here. Oh, why? Why? I guess it worked. Yeah, 25 minerals. Was that cancel in range? The cancel was not in range.
Complete.
Wow, that was a beautiful cancel. I kind of like that. You know that? I kind of do like that indeed. Oh. The funny thing here is that Gumiho is playing a Cyclone anyway. If this is going to be a Viking, I'd be double upset. It could just be a medevac, of course. I think it is going to be a medevac. But he's supply block, so we'll have to wait for a little bit at least. Have to wait for a little bit at least. Come on, medevac, man. There we go. Medevac does get produced here. It's maybe another Cyclone as a follow-up. It's very frustrating to see. Look how quick this thing dies. Poof. Cyclone latches on there, kills it. Phoenix is on the way. Astrea's actually in trouble. And now he's still gonna get the Twilight Council. I don't like his position at all that he's in. Like, at all. He's gonna... Well, I'm not sure if this is an all-in, but this is some serious pressure here coming out of Gumiho. I think, at least. There's a Liberator as a follow-up as well. I guess it's only really 4 Marines, so maybe... Maybe it's not the end of the world, but we'll have to see. It's going to be directed, most likely, at the Gateway plus Cybernetics core combination. This is something that has gained a lot in popularity in Korea as of late. It's just completely targeting down these 2 buildings. Just kind of picking that up for free from there and then forcing a bad fight from TOS. Initially, though, we have our man Gumiho going in towards the main base, as this actually looks like it might have some freaking potential. Only 2 Marines here, or 2 Phoenixes here. Our 3rd Phoenix has shown up. Pro pull off the line. We get a lift on that Cyclone. Phoenix in the back, maybe in some trouble. No, it's going to be just okay. Oh, nice little surround like a Warcraft 3 player. These Marines get cleaned up. At the same time, 3rd base already on the way. And Charge has started researching. So, honestly, pretty decent freaking start here for Astrea, who's still up 7 workers, who's fighting against a 1-1-1 all-inning Terran player. And now I'm not really seeing a way anymore for Astrea to lose. I thought he was in so much trouble. He's gonna lose 1 Phoenix, which sucks, but he actually maneuvered very well here. It's gonna... the 1 Phoenix is annoying. I don't think he should be out on the map quite yet. I mean, Charge is, what, 35 seconds away from finishing right now. We have Cloak on the way behind all of this as well. As these Phoenixes are on the map and they're looking for kills. I think this pylon is going to fall, which is frustrating. I think you hide your salads for a bit more, mate. I think we should be hiding altogether here. There's more probes and then Charge finish up in a couple of seconds. More pylons. And live honestly should be okay. Like, you're just gonna crush this. Look at this. No, don't chase this. Go for the barb. Hello? Go for the army. You can't lose your Nexus. I think he's gonna lose the Nexus now. Oh, what a blunder here by Astrea. I mean, he was gonna clean this up anyway, but losing that Nexus is going to cost him a lot in eco. Still in a phenomenal spot, though. Magnificent indeed, as third CC goes down for Gumiho. This Banshee could be, well, is going to be an issue. There's no real detection, there's no battery, there's no cannon. Australia playing this so careful, so scared in a way. I mean, the double forge does inspire a little bit of confidence. See how poor Gumiho is. He's freaking 2 barracks. He's like poor in infrastructure. This Banshee is an issue. This Banshee is a real issue. And we know it as well. This Banshee is just going to be a big freaking issue. Phoenix is now coming in. Gonna take out 4 or 5, maybe even 6 workers. Scouts the fact that something is researching. And now has the Banshee in the main base. This Banshee is gonna get 12 kills. At least. Maybe even more. Like, there's legitimately nothing to deal with this. Oh, there's a battery. There's a battery. That's nice. That means that Gumiho will need to focus a little bit more. This thing is about to run out in about 20 seconds. Okay, this one's way better than I thought it would in like a million years. It still isn't great, because this costs a lot of mining time. You're still losing a bunch of workers as well. Really, the mining time in my mind is going to be the very big thing here. The fact that this third base wasn't up is huge as well. It's going to be 10 worker kills and basically 2 entire mineral lines. Not researching anything. Cannon finishes up. That means that that Banshee gets a couple of big hits straight in the face. Very nice play here out of Australia with the follow-up defense, but the initial defense just wasn't it. It just wasn't it. There's an Oracle out as well right now, so it's going to be perhaps capable of helping out with a, yeah, maybe a Revelation over here. That would be very nice. This Adept's gonna die. Let's take a look at the supplies. It's 93 versus 90. Upgrades superior here for Australia, as Gumiho is still struggling really to get a, some type of footing in this game. Hasn't really managed to carve out a position for himself yet. Okay, so this Banshee is toast. Yep, there we go. Nice little Revelation from a very far away distance. I think Gumiho is actually setting up for a 1-1 timing attack. The funny thing for Gumiho though is that I don't think he has enough units for a timing attack. He has all the upgrades, but is lacking the actual content. You know, this is really nice. This is like my papers I wrote in, or my papers, like the reports you wrote in like elementary school, where 40 minutes was spent on the content of writing about cars or football, and then an hour and a half was spent on finding the perfect word art for the title, and then how to write your name, whether to make it in italics or in the bold. This kind of what Gumiho has as well. It's all the fancy things, but he's a tiny freaking army. He's like, there's ghosts, there's tanks, I got mines, got a +1 upgrade, I got all that good stuff, but he just doesn't really have that much stuff. Still gonna try here. Without combat as well, though, so... Now, this fight I kind of want to see. He just scanned 3 times in a row. That's wild. Is he really just gonna give up this base? Against non-combat shield marines? What? That wasn't necessary. No? I don't quite understand that. Really? I don't think that was the correct call. Because the game is just gonna get much harder now once Combat Shield finishes up. This is a nice run by, but it probably, if you're planning on giving up that base, you probably should have done this run by immediately as your opponent moves out, not as your opponent is on the way back home. This is going to cost Australia more zealots than it cost Gumiho SCVs. That's usually not a great trade. Oh no, they're chasing back in as I think one more zealot, yeah, it's just barely gonna escape. This army is garbage. There's 1 Colossus out, a second one on the way. 2 upgrades as well coming out, but I mean, now Gumiho is just up 30 supply. Like, losing that base was really freaking big. I don't quite understand why that happened. Like, 2 times now, Australia has lost a 3rd base. That, in my mind, wasn't entirely necessary to lose. And here, he's gonna have real trouble breaking it. He has a nice zealot run by, but there is a wall in the natural. 3rd base is going to be evacuated, at least temporarily. This base once again has been taken out, so that is now 3 times in a row that the 3rd base has gone down. Tanks slowly but surely moving forward. These Colossus I don't think are going to be enough to hold off this army. SCVs are dying though. Orbital Command probably needs to lift as well. We have a drop in towards the main base with the backup of the tanks. I think Astrea's just dead. What an anticlimactic ending of this series. I love how Gumiho does that. He's like, oh, you have a lot of army down there. It would be unfortunate if I were to just drop in your main base now, wouldn't it? And he just drops in the main. So this game is super over. 42 workers to 47, so that feels close, but it's 4 base versus 2. That doesn't feel so close. Upgrades are indeed in favor of Astrea, but he's down 30 supply as well. The moment he moves across the map, a base raid probably is going to be initiated, which is going to be quite frustrating. There's mines on both the bases as well. I actually think that Gumiho is just going to go back home. He could have probably base traded here and been fine, but he says, you know, I have so much stuff. I have so many units at home. I'm producing Vikings already. I have some mines as well, 3 to be exact, and I have a decent Marauder count, so yeah, I don't think I'm actually going to attack it. There's no anti-air here either with this push, so these Vikings are going to be too much. Gumiho wins the series in, well, a very short amount of time and also in some very odd games over here, ending it on Royal Blood with a Cyclone push that completely failed, into a tank push that should have completely failed, into a combat shieldless Marine push that once again should have failed but didn't. And thus Gumiho wins this series 3-0 and will advance on to the round of 8 in the Korean StarCraft League SummerSlam.